Previously on Rock Talk.
You use that ragini thing, that raga?
Yeah, I just happened to have it.
There it is. I thought that was a toaster. Play it. Right on.
Okay, take it away.
All right. You ready? The song's called Moonchild Psychedelic Holiday.
Perfect.
All right,
I'll
see you in
get
a
the
minute.
ragini going.
Keep the ragini going there, Greg. All right, I'll see you back upstairs in a few minutes. Dylan, nice job. All right, man. Take the rest of the day off. Okay, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes. There she is.
Oh, that is tremendous.
She's still on her psychedelic holiday.
Very nice. Wow. What is it, a Takamine? What is that thing?
Breed, love.
Beautiful guitar.
Thanks.
Did you get that custom painted?
Yeah, I did. It was painted by the lady that lives in this house.
I had a Guild Songbird guitar once that Kim Mitchell borrowed off me.
Uh-huh.
And he returned it after a couple of weeks, and I opened the case, and the whole top of the guitar was beaten to a pulp. And I called him up and I said, "Do you want to tell me what's going on here?" He goes, "Well, I'm sort of embarrassed." He goes, "My kid was like playing spoons on it and broke the top of it. I didn't really want to tell you." I said, "Well, I opened the case. It's the first thing I saw." So I took the guitar to a guy that custom paints, and I had all Yellow Submarine characters painted on it. It was a work of art. But then, needed the money and sold it to the Hard Rock, and it ended up in the Ottawa Hard Rock Cafe over the entrance to the Beatles Shrine.
No kidding. Wow.
Same idea. But anyway, Kim had to pay to get the guitar painted. So thank you, Kim Mitchell. I wish I still owned it.
Yeah, good.
So what is the genesis of the song that you just played for?
In 1992, one day I was living, at that point I lived in down at Harbour Square in Toronto, and often, Harbour Square is a large condo. And someone had their window open somewhere, either in the hotel, which was across the Harbour Castle, or it couldn't tell where it was coming from because it's kind of a little bit of a vortex in there where the ferry boats are going up. But I could hear, I heard some Doors, and then I heard some Beatles, and then I heard a bit of Stone. And about 4 in a row, some Hendrix was in there. What else did I hear? I think at the end it was like, might have been a bit of Creedence, like from that era. And I just was picturing in my mind who's in, wherever they are, who's in there listening to this. And it just conjured up the vision of someone like Moonchild. There'd be someone named Moonchild that's on this psychedelic holiday listening to this music, because it was at that time, Greg, that I began to realize this music is so important in our lives. It's not just a passing fancy of something that we were growing up with. It's beyond that. It really is. It's gotten into the fiber of who we are. And that she was in there, Moonchild, this fictitious character, was in there just on another plane, because this music was taking her there, and that's her little psychedelic holiday just by getting into the songs.
That was great, and please thank Dylan for contributing.
Nice job, Dylan. I'm gonna have to pay him.
You should poke his head around the door so everyone can have a good look at him. He's a good-looking boy.
He's gone.
He's hiding. I'm going to completely.
He's got his own life.
Flip around this thing on June the 27th, 1998. you were invited to the Allthorpe family home by Princess Diana's brother to take part in a concert. Now, this is a year before you joined Styx.
Correct.
But these were all artists that Diana loved. And Duran Duran is there. There's also Cliff Richard is there. Krista Berg is there. David Hasselhoff is there. Danny McBride was there. Todd Zuckerman was there.
Danny, yeah.
Weird.
Todd Zuckerman was there, yes.
Todd was there playing with Danny's band with David Hasselhoff. I mean, and then you played a song that you wrote for her, and we're going to show a clip of it.
Though you rest alone in silence, we know you'll rise again. Lifted by the ones you touched who remain. Though we paint a painful picture, I see the other side. Because of you, coldness in us has died. Healing waters, healing waters. Now the Queen of Hearts forever takes her place in history. Healing waters, healing waters. From the corners of your sad eyes, into gutters, into rivers, into seas. Suddenly the years of anger had fallen from your face as you finally shook their icy embrace. You'd suffered through the wounds they'd given you, cured them from within, and you had survived that world you were in. Healing waters, healing waters. Even hardened hearts surrendered to your well of mysteries. Healing waters, healing waters. From the corners of these sad eyes, into gutters, into rivers, into seas.
How the heck did that come about that you end up being one of her favorite artists?
Okay, I don't know. First of all, I don't know that I was. But I do know this. Her family really liked that song, Healing Waters. Now, it's possible, very possible, that when the Royal Yacht Britannia was docked, right, that condo I was just telling you about, they were docked right in the harbor there. I saw them every morning, every year they were there. Maybe it was late 80s or early 90s. I saw the ship every morning. I'd wake up, look out the window, there it is. It's quite possible that she heard quite a bit of my music, I guess, on radio while she was here. But the story is this. I had toured in England in 1997 a lot, went around playing pubs all over England, just solo piano. That's kind of where I began doing that more and more in my touring. And it went really well. And from that, I got offered by a publicist I had there, Judy Totten. She got me on a tour with the Stranglers, so I was opening for them, a whole UK tour. But on that tour, I did a ton of interviews because I was born in Scotland and there was a lot of, that British thing was going on. A disc jockey named Les Scott did his radio show a couple of times, and he liked the songs I played. He called my cousin, Andrew Henderson, the morning after the car crash that Diana was in, and said, "Your cousin, does he have anything appropriate I could play on the air right now?" And Andrew said, "Yeah, he's got this song I think would be great called Healing Waters." And he called me and he said, he asked, "Could you put anything in the lyrics about Diana?" And it just so happens the timing was perfect. I was in the studio putting together our greatest hits album. We got out the two track of Healing Waters, and I had just come home from Montreal the night before. Woke up and heard about the car crash, drove home, was in the studio, penned a couple of those lines, and began to feel like the reason we didn't put this song out is because it was for this. Sent it to him by in 1997, there was a thing called the ISDN line, where it now sounds ancient, but then it was the latest technology. I sent it. Les played it on the air, and that was on like the day after the car crash. He played it on the air, and he got a ton of requests for it over the next 4 days. And obviously her family heard it and remembered it. After that fourth day, Elton John played Candle in the Wind at the funeral, and Healing Waters was more or less went away, I thought. It got enough airplay that it raised some money that went to her charities. Anyway, but a year goes by, and suddenly my cousin was contacted by the IMG International Management Group, said that her family wanted to know if I would play Healing Waters at that concert with the BBC National Orchestra. And so that's how I got on that show. And I went there, and it was this. I put a clip. The clip of me playing is up there. But after I performed, it went over really well. It was the day that they opening her memorial, because she's buried there in the lake at Allthorpes. But Earl Spencer came back to the dressing room and said, "Do you want to come in for a party after the show?" Which I did.
Yeah, okay.
And at the party, Frances Shan Kidd, her mom said, she knew about Healing Waters. She said, "Why don't you go play the piano?" So I guess basically I went up and started playing the piano, and it turned into this big sing-along, and I got Earl Spencer to come up and sing A Little Help from My Friends.
And I saw Jimmy Ruffin in the picture. Danny McBride.
Jimmy Ruffin was there,
Yeah.
Duran. And then the most phenomenal part of that is that Todd Sucherman, the drummer from Styx, he's sitting right beside me, and because he knew me, because at the sound check he came up and said, "You opened for us in Montreal last year for Styx." And I said, "That's right." But he was playing there with he did just a one-off with David Hasselhoff. Yeah. And it was kind of, again, a phenomenal thing to think that here's this guy, Todd, that I'm going to meet him again in a few months when I join his band, the band that he's in. But what a night that was. Really, Duran guys were there, and it was pretty astounding. And so I got to spend a good portion of that year in England, and there was a lot of nice, stuff that happened because of Healing Waters.
That's just an incredible experience to be in a royal palace, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny showed me the archway going down to the washroom, and it was all these busts of famous people.
Correct.
And there was all Gainsboroughs on the walls.
Yes, but those busts were their family going back 500 years. Those were all the Earl Spencers. And what was funny to me was to be kind of, I won't say escorted, but I was kind of shown where the loo was by the current Earl Spencer. And as I'm walking by the busts, I'm going, "Oh, look, there's your nose. Oh, there's your eyes. Oh, look."
Unreal.
Because every bust is like got something of the familial was coming through. Anyway.
Did you spend the night there?
No.
So you just played, and then you played with the orchestra, and then off you went after the party.
Yeah. Played the night there. I think my nicest memory of that was that her mom, I mean, what a day for their family. The sisters were there, and it must have been an incredibly hard day for them to get through. But music, of course, is the great balm that can be such a source of renewal. And she got a kick out of it. In fact, she really got a kick out of me playing ragtime on the piano. I played She asked me first to play Healing Waters, which I did. But, I played this ragtime piece I always do called King Chanticleer. And she had a baseball cap on, sitting on that big stairway that you see in Allthorpe. She had a great time.
I mean, much like the Beatles chat we had. I mean, they're just normal people. They're just they just happen to be royalty.
They were cast in this role and have to do the best with it, just like any other human being.
Yeah. I advertised on Facebook. I said, I get the pleasure of talking to you, and I asked a bunch of people if they would submit questions. Do you mind if we go to the listener section here?
Hit me. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here's a question from David Bauer. It says, "Is there a Styx song from the band's catalog that you've never performed with the group but would like to?"
Yep, the good question.
I thought it was a good one too, actually.
Yeah, this is weird. They did a version on the Crystal Ball album. They did a version of Clair de Lune, which is the Debussy piece, and I play that. So I've kind of wanted to play that at a Styx show for quite a while. That would be one because it's a piano piece. Since I've been in the band so long, like 22 years now, I've brought up all the songs that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to do Pieces of Eight. I thought that was a really well-written song, timeless lyrics. And so that became part of the show. Quite honestly, the ones I really want to play are the ones that we've written together. Yeah, that we've written together over the last 20 years, and particularly on the last two albums, The Mission and Crash of the Crown.
Well, you were kind enough to send me that link for the Styx fix the other day.
Yeah.
And I know you're incredibly modest about what you guys have done, but over the 7 shows that you filmed for streaming, you guys raised like $164,000 for that charity. So good. Tell the boys, good on you guys, man. That's
I will.
Something.
I will. It's just it's a testament to it's a great bunch of guys to be with, and they really do. That's just almost like a common thing that they would do. But that's great that much money got raised.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, what have the other guys been doing during COVID? I mean, you guys get together occasionally for Zoom bits that you do, but like
we do a Zoom call almost every week.
Yeah,
if not every other week. So we have that. This has been, like you and I talking right now. This has been such a lifeline for so many people that have never faced something like this. So the Zoom calls have really helped. We worked on the album. We had done about 2/3 of the record, and then we finished it up. The last third I recorded here at the studio. Our studio in the beaches there with Russ. And each guy, Todd is in such demand as a drummer. And he does these gigantic clinics around the world. From home now. This past year. So those are incredibly successful. He played on a lot of people's records. Tommy is a constantly working musician, as am I. Same with Ricky. Chuck has been, doing really well in Florida. And JY has been finally getting some time to spend some time at home. He's the most traveled of all of us, really. Has spent some time at home and been able to get through it, basically, with a smile on his face.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good everybody's staying busy. I have a question from a friend of mine, Christine Booth, and she writes, I have loved Gowan from forever. What was his inspiration for Strange Animal?
Yeah, okay. A great one. One of the first inspiration is the melody. That it was just those words went well with the melody, but I was reading a lot of Herman Hesse. I've read a lot of Aldous Huxley as well, but Herman Hesse books. And a lot of them related to telepathy, And I started thinking about people that you're amazingly attracted to for whatever reason, and how you are compelled to follow them to the ends of the earth if need be. So, for example, I can even think of a song that's like that. I remember the first time I heard Bohemian Rhapsody. I was both attracted and repelled at the same time because I didn't know what it was. And then about 3 weeks later, I was so immersed in that piece of music, every aspect of it, that it was what was initially a strange animal to my mind became this phenomenal spirit that I wanted to be close to. So I suppose that's the initial thing. I think people's own interpretation, personal interpretations, far exceed what the original inspiration is almost every time.
All right, great. We're both Scarboroughans and we're both proud Scarborough residents. We've got a lot of history. But, when you think about the people that came out of our borough, you got Carol Pope, you've got Michelle Finney that hosted Razzle Dazzle back in the days, great girl. Leona Boyd, Jim Carrey, the Bare Naked Ladies, on and on. Someone's asked...
Mike Myers.
And, of course, Mike Myers. Do you know, I was at the Ruddles played on a rooftop across the street at St. Clair and Yonge once, and Mike and Paul Myers were there, and I was there, and the Ruddles, they were doing their archaeology album, like their anthology, and we actually got to see them playing live on this rooftop. It was incredible.
When was that?
Well, it would have been around the time the Beatles had the anthology up, because they, of course, released our anthology.
So, like Eric Idle was doing it?
Eric was not there, but Ricky Fattar was there. Barrington Womble was there. These guys are all.
That's Neil Innes.
Well, Neil Innes was Ron Nasty. He was there.
Sorry, of course,
Yeah.
not Barry. Barry Womble was the Ringo.
Yeah. It's funny because
Neil Innes was there.
Neil Innes was there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ron Nasty. Yeah. Oh my God, what a songwriter. Oh.
But what do you think it is about Scarborough? I mean, I'm sure that every other borough produced their fair share of people that ended up on the Walk of Fame, like we were lucky enough to. But
yeah,
something in the air. I mean, what was it about us growing up in that era that just sparked all that creativity?
I think we were at an amazing crossroads. I think we were at an amazing crossroads, much like probably like Memphis was, like it just the way Sun Studios got, happened, because there were these cross currents of musical influences that I think in Scarborough, particularly Canada in general, but for me growing up, because at that time and yourself, because it was a borough that hadn't quite developed its personality, because so much of it was brand new suburbs. So it needed to be you had to put your own stamp on it. I think that the music we grew up with at that time, we were looking for something that kind of galvanized us and made it and it was a great crossroads. And I have to say, it just so happens that it coincides with the British invasion and the fact that Scarborough was so British back then. I think there was a lot of that in the air during that era. And I think that kind of, even for our parents, I think it was a great way for them to feel like they had a little bit of home, so to speak. And I think it was a great, I just think it was great cross-currents. And then suddenly to have all those clubs.
That's right.
By the time you're a teenager, you can go and play at these places and you can begin to kind of make that. The other thing I've discovered over the course of the pandemic is what a great place to ride a bicycle. I mean, it really is an endless. I've gone down streets I never knew existed, even though I grew up here. And I think it's all of those things. And on top of that, we have one of the most natural, beautiful things called the Scarborough Bluffs that we underestimate, we underrate, because that's kind of part of our genetic code, I guess, as well. They are such a phenomenal thing, and to be next to Lake Ontario, which is the size of an ocean, is, we really have grown up in such a fantastic place.
Do you know, I was originally wanting to do this interview with you down at the Guild Inn.
I would love to do that.
On that stage where they have all the columns from the old banks and stuff.
That is on the back of that Great Dirty World album from 1987. That's the one with Moonlight Desires on it. There's not the back of the album. The inside of the album is a picture of me at that on that kind of stage, as you put it, with the columns, etc.
Oh, it's amazing there.
Yeah, that's, most people don't know that, but you're the first person I've spoken to that knows the Guild Inn. I ride my bike there often. Great spot. Another thing growing up, I've told you this before. I told you this last week when we chatted. When I would see the Flood truck drive by, when I was about 13, 14, I'd see the truck with your Flood logo when you played in Flood, FLUDD for people that don't know, and the U, is it the U? Yeah, the U was a star.
Star in it, yes.
Yeah, but one of the when I would see that truck go by, I remember I would be thinking, that is the epitome. That's the apex of the coolest thing that could ever happen. That you went to school, you went to high school, and now you've got a truck with the name of your band on it.
Yeah.
I remember a few years later when we got our truck, I was like, let's put the Rheingold logo on there. And Larry Sykes, our manager, said, I think that would be the dumbest thing you could ever do. You're basically saying, hey, if you want some equipment, it's all in this box right here.
I've got a great story about that. We had, well, first of all, the Flood bus, I used to call it the evil Partridge Family version, because what went on in that bus was like pretty weird, man, traveling the way we did in it. But once we graduated to the big truck with the Flood logo on it, we moved into the Guild Parkway, in a townhouses right down by the lake.
Yeah.
And there was a apartment building right across the street. Well, one day I come home to the band townhouse, and there's all this furniture in there I'd never seen before. And the next thing I know, the cops are at the door, and they said, the guys who took this furniture are under arrest. The roadies had gone over with the truck with flood painted on the side to the apartment building and unloaded all of the furniture from the lobby into the truck and then drove it across the street and unloaded it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's still not as bad as
I'm not surprised.
It's still not as bad as this one. We started tour in Edmonton, and I've already flown out, and I'm waiting for them to arrive. And then we get the word that they've been arrested again. So what happened was the truck breaks down in South River, and what do? They go to a bar, okay, as you would, and they start drinking. So they befriend a couple that are moving their furniture out west. And while the guy's not looking, one of the roadies gets the guy's keys, and they take his truck out into the forest, and they unload all of our equipment into his truck and put his stuff in the forest, and then drive off with the guy's truck. And they made it about 20 feet before the RCMP grabbed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant scheme, guys. Brilliant, really. That's a well-hatched plan right there. Oh, my God. Hearkening back to that, I always often think, years later, I met Ed Pilling and Brian before he left. But when you joined that band, just hearing those guys speak with English accents, being so influenced by the British invasion, you must have thought, yes, I'm joining this band. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I haven't read that chapter yet.
Well, it's actually in the first book, but I'll give you a copy of that one too.
I got no Travels with my Amp. Yeah, you did.
There's a big flood story in there. I mean, I met Brian in grade 9 at W.A. Porter Collegiate. He was a greaser when I met him. I had the first Beatle haircut in the school. I was 13. And then, on this twerp day or whatever they called it, he showed up with his hair washed out and down, and we ran across the field pretending we were in a hard day's night, and people were screaming, chasing us, and collapsed on the ground and said, he said, my brother's coming back from England, and we're going to put a band together. So we started playing together then, when I was 13,
Oh, so it was a high school thing.
Yeah. You must know Alec Fraser, played with Jeff Healy's band, the bass player from Scotland. Yeah. He's got a question for you here. It says, did your early days in Glasgow influence your songwriting?
Maybe, but I came here as a little baby.
Oh, did you? Yeah, way to go, Alec.
So, I mean, yeah, no, it didn't really, but it's had more influence on my fashion sense since I wear a lot of kilts.
Yeah, you have fabulous knees, by the way. Just wanted to
thank you very much. They've been operated on. But I had a knee lift done, as you can tell, so they look so much younger.
Actually, much like Elton John, I'd never seen Styx play until you sent me that 2-hour concert on the Styx fix, and we'll have the link.
Pretty good band, isn't it?
It's an unbelievably good band, and that contraption that you've got. I've got a question here from Lauren Wheaton.
Oh, Lauren, okay, great.
So for people that don't know, Lauren Gump Wheaton, he got his start as a roadie for Gatto, by the way, like a lot of guys.
Worked for Gowan, too.
Probably after he went from us to Max Webster, probably to Gowan, and then he ends up with Neil Peart 20 years.
Yep.
I don't understand what this question means, but you're going to explain it, and I have to read this because I've never heard this word before.
You'll like it.
How did you get your cable loom, Loom, configured for the spinning fryer, and how many spins can it do before you rip them all to shreds? I have no idea what that means.
Lauren knows. Okay, so my spinning keyboard, quickly, we were doing an album I did in 1990. Alex Lifeson was the guitarist on that record, and Kenny Greer as well, but Alex did the video for Lost Brotherhood. And for that video, I asked ETI, the lighting company, to concoct this spinning stand, which I use to this day. And when they put it together, they had a brush system. This is going into technical thing. They had a brush system for the electronics. But Lauren, I believe, is one of the original people that put together the loom, the snake,
okay,
down the pipe. And as I'm spinning that keyboard, that loom is also twisting around like it's doing this, which, eventually you're going to snap it. So on that first tour, I remember when we did the video, Alex was one of the people that said, are you going to take that thing on stage with you? And I said, do you think I should? He said, yeah, it looks pretty cool. So I've had it ever since. So Lorne would be, he was on the crew then, and they had to come up with a cable system where I could spin it around. What it turned out to be was 6 one way, which meant 12 back the other way. So, of course, I would lose count. I'd turn to Lorne, and he'd be holding up fingers of like, you're 5 times, go, it's this way now. So at first it was just a nightmare of errors. And there's a lock on it, just so you know, and Lorne would have witnessed this. There's a lock on it so that I can stop it from spinning when I want to get up on top of it and jump off it, which is always part of the show. But about the third night that I was using it, Bob Schindel said, you are going to kill yourself on that thing. And I thought, no, you don't understand how to be on stage, Bob. Just do the sound. The third night, I forgot to turn that lock at the very end. And I'm up there, and I get on top of the keyboard, and I realize, I haven't locked the keyboard.
Oh, no.
I can still jump off it anyway. So as I jump, the whole thing does this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So as I start here and jump, it's now here, and I come down, and my tailbone hits the end of it. The whole thing goes over. The keyboard goes off the stage, head over heels, right into the front row, and smashes to 1,000 pieces.
Oh, dear Lord.
And you can just guess what the audience reaction to that was. It was like, this guy. Yeah, he trashes like $5,000 keyboards at every show.
Yeah, he's the Who.
Yeah, exactly, of keyboards. So, yeah, Lauren already knows the answer better than anyone.
Okay. No, I was going to ask, when I see the picture of you with your foot on the seat, and then you've got your other foot up on the piano, aside from the one you just told, I mean, you must have done a header off it the odd time.
Several times. The picture that Todd just sent me out, we've done 2 Super Bowls with Styx, and the first time I played there, we were on the field, and I thought, of all times that I'm going to do the ultimate jump, it's going to be here at this show. So, we were on stage, and I thought, the AstroTurf that was in Tampa, the AstroTurf has a little bit of bounce to it, and it was at the end of Come Sail Away. I just flew and basically collapsed on the grass when I hit it. But it was enough to just give me one knee operation. But I do remember JY saying, like, I'll never forget that sight. You flying through the air at the Super Bowl. It was great.
I remember we did a gig in Montreal. It wasn't at the Mustache. It was called the Low Cité. It was a really big room. And I used to do that thing where when I played guitar in that song, I would go out and dance on the tables, right?
Right. Yeah, you were known for that.
There was a huge, long table, and I jump off the stage, and I hit it, and it was one that had a pedestal in the middle. So when I hit it, it was like a catapult with everything flying on the stage, right? Beer everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all those moments when you think you're going to do something cool, and it goes really sideways,
In all those clubs, again, such a great training ground. You see, you learned, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it at the sound check and just check what that table is capable of holding. It's like climbing the truss and going up on top of the PA stacks. You learn because, when you knock down the whole PA system, it takes a long time to set it back up again. And thank God Wellesley Hospital is just around the corner.
And we've all done it, man.
Yeah, exactly. So you learn that stuff. You learn that. I remember, every time you say something, there's another one. We were playing at the Rondon. Remember in the West End?
The Rundown.
Okay, the Rundown. So I decide one night, because I haven't really practiced it yet, but I thought, I'm going to try the Daltrey thing with the swing and the mic thing around on the cable. And I'm getting pretty good at it. I'm throwing it out. It's going out 2 or 3 tables, and I'm pulling it back, and it's right back in my hand. I'm like, I got this down, right? But of course, you haven't calculated how low the ceiling is. So I'm doing the big swing in the last, in the encore, And there's a table, as will happen, there's a table of bikers up front who had no interest in what the hell the band was doing. Swinging this thing, it hits the ceiling, comes down, and of course goes right under their table. And I got to finish the song. I got no mic now. It's under their table. I remember I'm down on I asked them, I motioned like, could you give me the mic? Give me the mic, the mic. And they're looking up like, are you talking to us? Right? And they do one of these, they look under and they're like, so I'm down on my knees. I'm under the table trying to grab the mic, and of course they're kicking me. It's biker boots kicking me as I'm trying to grab the mic and finish the goddamn song. Again, live and learn.
Heinze was one of Ronnie's right-hand guys. There was Rob, and then there was Heinze was the other guy.
Okay.
And he's got a question. He said, get Gowan to tell some stories about his time, because I played with Hawkins too. So this is we're Hawk alumni. So
fantastic. One very quick one is that the very first night I played with him was at the Aurelia Opera House, and Stan Celeste, who was an incredible piano player from Buffalo, couldn't make it. He had some issues, and Bob Schindel was doing the sound for them. He said, I got a friend that can play this stuff. And I came up, and I hadn't even met Ronnie, did the sound check. Steve Hogg was playing bass, so he played in Rheingold. I went through it, and at the sound check, I was played some Little Richard, and Ronnie came in the room, and he came up and he went, do you want to do that in the show? And I said, yeah, okay. So he said he loved Little Richard. So that night we were on stage, and he goes, hey, son, play some of that Little Richard. So I played Good Golly Miss Molly or whatever it was. And at the end of it, he was so into it. He came over and he says to me, son, what's your name? Because he wanted to introduce me to the audience. He never knew my name. So he went, what's your name? I said, it's Lawrence Gowan. He goes, Lawrence, on the piano, Sir Lawrence. So all the time I was in the band, it was Sir Lawrence.
Yeah, he knighted me too.
Yeah, gave me the name right off the bat. Another great story is the following week we played at a place called the Colson, which is in Sudbury. And, so Ronnie, again, the phenomenal one-liners, we're up there playing. I'll go to the short part of the story. The great thing is that all through the first set, a lady gets up and she's dancing right in front of the band. And she's got super tight early 80s jeans on with a pair of cowboy boots. And Ronnie, of course, he's a ladies' man, always was. And he keeps looking over at me kind of like, and then looking at her and then looking at me going, and he kept forgetting the words. And he came over and said, he goes, son, I keep forgetting the words because that girl there, I tell you, I can't stop looking at her. If she farts, she's going to blow them boots off. That's on stage.
Yeah.
So there's that one. My third one's most important because when I left the band and he knew that I was called Gowan, and that was a kind of a moment. But I asked him, he was he told Elvis Presley, that he would never make it with a name like Elvis. He better change his name. So I said to Ronnie, well, what do you think of the name Gowan? He went, Gowan, I really like that a lot. And I went, that's so disappointing. Yeah, a great chapter in my life, though, because at the end, towards the end, we were playing at the Imperial Room in Toronto, which was like the classiest place you could possibly play, and Bo Diddley was opening the show. And Ronnie had some kind of heart issue after the first night. And because of that, I got to do like a half hour of 50s stuff, mostly Little Richard, some Jerry Lee Lewis, and a little bit of Fats Domino, and play with Bo Diddley for a week. Yeah, because we stayed on. So that's great because I know Bo's family now. They come out and see Styx a lot, and I've got great photos of myself with Bo Diddley. I should send you one of those. And what was the other one? Oh, and of course, his 60th birthday at Massey Hall.
I was there.
Were you there? So what a night that was.
You tore that place apart, man. I mean, you stole the show. Healy was on it too.
Jeff Healy. So that was a great night with Jeff.
Carl Perkins.
I played Carl Perkins signed my 12 string that night. I've got that. It was on a Seagull guitar, signed on the back, and I've got the 12th fret to cover it up, and I've got Carl Perkins' autograph. Just to be on that stage and look around, I'm looking at Lee Von Helm and Jerry Lee Lewis, and Jeff was great, and all the guys from the band, Garth Hudson.
Yeah.
A great night, and it was Massey Hall. So I mean, oh God, all great. And when I left the band, it was because I didn't want to, but it was January of 1985, and A Criminal Mind came out on a Thursday, and we played the Auto Show in Montreal on a Sunday. And the power of television back then was if you were on Much Music like one time, everybody recognized you.
Yeah.
By that Sunday, the song had been out 4 days. We were playing at the Auto Show in Montreal, and we finished the first set, and there was this big crowd on the piano side of the stage. And when I came off with that mullet and the red swash of hair in the front, as I came off stage, a bunch of people said, "Are you that criminal guy?" And I went, "Yeah." And immediately, all these Auto Show pamphlets came shooting up, and I started signing them. And Ronnie goes by, and he leans over my shoulder. He goes, "I guess that's your last gig with us."
Yeah, he knew.
And that was, I didn't want to leave though. I thought, no, I wonder if there's a way I could do this and that.
Yeah. What's in the future for you?
If the gods of rock are smiling on me, just more of the same. That's really it. I mean, okay, immediate future, we go out on tour with Styx in America in June, which, I've had my first shot. I'm hoping to get my second shot before that starts. So that, promoting Crash of the Crown primarily, but basically just the Styx love-in that happens every single night with that audience is just something you can never tire of. More Gowan shows that got postponed from this year to next year. So there's that. That and riding my bicycle is really all I have plans for,
Well, that sounds like a hell of a good plan. And I'm looking forward because, we've been neighbors for quite a while, but, just with your schedule and what I'm doing and stuff. But when this is all over, we got to get together one day and make some music together.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to do that. We should definitely have the traditional Scarborough basement jam. Yes.
And we know lots of Beatles songs.
And we know lots of Beatles songs for sure. And we know a lot of Ronnie Hawkins songs.
Yeah, we do.
You know a good number of Gatto songs, and I know a fair number of Gowan songs. So we could probably bash out a good 20 minutes doing that.
Well, thanks very much, Lawrence Gowan, for being here, and please thanks to your son Dylan for joining us. But thanks very much, Lawrence, man. It's always a pleasure, and so you're an amazing guest. So thanks for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure, Greg. Let me get back to my reading material. Okay,
I don't have to do a shameless huckster thing this week.
Well, not just that. When I crack it open, the first thing I see, just then 2 ladies dashed over to find out where she got the bag. Okay, so you see, there you go.
Okay, man, you have a great day.
All right. All the best, everyone. Stay safe. Stay well.